That's what I was speaking about in relation to the referendum. Special reporters are independent experts who are responsible for monitoring specific human rights and reporting their findings to the UN General Assembly and the Human Rights Council. So it sounds like a scary title, but I guess you can think of it as they're reporters. So they are monitoring and reporting their findings to the relevant bodies. They're appointed to examine the general human rights situation of a specific country or to study specific thematic aspects of human rights at an international level. So it could be at a country level, or it could be taking an aspect of human rights, like the treatment of women or the treatment of children, and looking at it from an international level with that aspect in mind. So they have various functions. So they actually respond to individual complaints. They conduct research studies. They provide advice on technical cooperation, and they visit the countries as well to undertake research there and assess specific human rights situations too. So in terms of our complaints system with interstate complaints, they are made by nation states regarding another nation state. So that's just the meaning there, interstate. That has signed and ratified the same treaty as them. So both nation states need to have signed the same treaty. And one state is lodging a complaint against another state about the fact that that state has violated human rights, allegedly, in some way. So the process for doing this is done by making a complaint to the specific UN body that oversees the matters relating to that particular treaty. So there's lots of treaties and there's specific bodies that oversee the various ones. And then that will be investigated by that relevant body as well. So several human rights treaties contain provisions to allow nation states to do exactly that. So not all of them, but some of them allow those complaints. Ancillary bodies and individuals are our last two. So other organizations and individuals in the United Nations. So UNICEF is an example. And these bodies can, again, they monitor human rights through investigation processes. And they're all about looking into those human rights violations in their specific areas of expertise. So using at least one example, explain the Disability Discrimination Act. And if you're really keen, I would encourage you to, I guess, replicate this question, thinking about those other acts that we looked at as well. So the Racial Discrimination Act and the Sex Discrimination Act, for example, try and think of examples and explain the overarching idea of those acts. So we've got international legal institutions and their role in upholding human rights. So one of them is the International Court of Justice. So it has only got jurisdiction to hear disputes between nation states. So if Australia was having a dispute with New Zealand, that would be something that the International Court of Justice could deal with. So the role is to settle those legal disputes according to the principles of international law. So it doesn't set precedents which are binding on all nations. So if we think about what you would have done previously in legal studies, you probably would have looked at criminal law with precedent cases and things like that. So in this case, the International Court of Justice can't make those precedents based on its decision making, which are binding on all nations. It's specifically looking at the two states that are having a dispute at any given time. And then the International Criminal Court is quite different with its responsibility. So the crimes that they are looking at are, so that it's crimes, not disputes between nation states, but crimes of individuals. And basically, those crimes are so awful that they can't be left to one nation to persecute. So things like genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes are examples of that. So it gets to a level where it's too serious for individual nations to be expected to deal with the crimes. So some treaties that Australia is a part of. So we have special obligations for these treaties, separate from just ratification. So some of them we have looked at already, and some of them we haven't. So the Hague Convention on Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction. So providing that way for parents to retrieve their children if they are abducted to a different country. So the thing to keep in mind with these is the relevance of this information that we're covering now in this topic to effectiveness of international law. Its relevance to you depends on the assignment that your school has made for your argumentative essay. So every school is going to have a different assignment. So some of these might be relevant to you depending on the sort of case study that you're given. But I guess the point being you do have that ability to research and to look back at notes and things like that to really understand whatever it is you need to for your topic. And now the remainder of the Unit 4 Topic 2 focuses on the ideas that are sort of throughout the different humanities subjects at school. So that ability to select information, analyze it, and evaluate it as well. So in particular for legal studies, it's evaluating the effectiveness of international law and creating that argumentative essay to argue your points. So in general, it'll usually be something that's not effective, and you'll be arguing why that's not effective. And then that allows you to then give your recommendations on what should change in the law to make it effective. So focusing on a contemporary legal issue which lists those different things that we've just spoken about. So, like I said, those are examples, and it depends on what your school has come up with in regards to this.